Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Daily Newcastle. My name's Jo. I'll be hosting today. I'm joined with, I was going to say two of my favourite pod people, but they're all my favourite pod people because I just love them. First up, we've got Michael. I'm not going to call him his new nickname that Ian wants to give him because I'll leave that for Ian at the weekend. But how are you doing anyway, Michael?
I was all right. I'm less so now, but it's fine. We've got a podcast to do. I am the king of professionalism.
Yes, you are.
So we'll stick with that. I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
You are. I'm all good, thank you very much. And Nick, we'll call you the queen. You can be the queen girl. How are you doing?
Thanks, honey. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Days.
You're less flustered than what you were about 60 seconds ago?
No, don't be silly. We're going to have a complete fluster-filled half hour. It's wonderful. Because we're talking about the Forest match, which could be quite flustering, but we're counting on it not be flustering. We're counting on the lads getting back to normal, and last weekend being a blip. I love using that word at the minute. Actually, I think we're having too many blips, aren't we? It's not really a blip anymore, is it? It's a bit of an issue. But we're not going to start the pod like that. I'm going to shut up already. So I guess we'll start off just generally, how are we overall feeling? We'll talk about like lineups, predictions as the kind of pod goes on, but how do you guys feel about the upcoming Forest visit? We know what our kind of past games have been like with Forest. We're all very aware of what Forest's run this season's been. Yes, all right, they lost their last game, but again, that's actually more of a blip for them. Because hats off to them, they have been all levels of outstanding and have probably surpassed, I bet, what they were expecting as well this season in reality. So it's in no way, shape or form going to be an easy game. But as always, I'm sure our team will go into it, as in us as the pod team, quite positive, and I'm sure we're going to predict a load of wins, as we love to do anyway. So first of all, I'm going to go to the king of positivity. It's Michael. How are you feeling?
I actually am feeling quite positive.
Good. I like that.
I know we've had a big defeat at the weekend, and I know we've lost back-to-back home games, but it's very rare that we lose back-to-back home games. It's even rarer that we lose 3 in a row. So the way I'm going into this, it's not going to happen. We're going to take on Forest, and you know what? We're going to have a brilliant, brilliant game. When have we been disappointed in the past? Brentford, bounced back. Any other time, bounced back. So we might have started the season quite poorly. We've had this fantastic run, and it's just come to an end. But we're still one of the most informed teams in the league. Yeah. Over the last 12 games or whatever it is, we've still picked up top 4 amount of points. So let's stick with that. Let's get forward. We've got a pretty decent injury record. If Sven Botman's back, pretty much full strength lineup, except from Joe Linton. Let's go at them. Let's be positive, and let's win against Forest again.
I like this, Michael. This is good. And I was a little bit scared when you first said it, but I was like, no, he's right. And I love how you always bring the absolute professional, sensible stuff to the pod while we sit there all
someone
scatty.
Has to.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm about to let Nick.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, I'm about to let you go, loose girl. So, like, you're like me. So, go on. How do you feel in the not so professional way?
Have you seen our
chat? Well, that's out of hours. That's when we're done. No, I'm joking. For the Forest game, I'm probably feeling right. I know I said this last week when we'd done the Man City, and I wasn't worried about Man City, and they've absolutely laughed in my face and put 4 past us. That was fantastic. So what I am going to sit here and say is I am feeling positive for the Nottingham Forest game, particularly because we've beat them twice this season already. Obviously once in the league and then once in the what's it called? Carabao Cup.
Hi.
So I'm feeling positive going into the game, but it's going to be a hard game because, like you've just mentioned, if anything, Forest are having a better season than City, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And they are playing some really fascinating football that actually scares me a little bit. And it doesn't help that when Chris Wood seems to play for Nottingham Forest, he turns into prime Lionel Messi. But when he played for us, he could barely kick a ball straight. So that's fantastic. So I'm just going to keep that in the back of my head. But I'm feeling confident for it. Like Michael says, it was very rare that we lose back-to-back games at home. It has been a bit of a blip. What I can probably expect is that Eddie has maybe given some home truths and a little bit of kick up the backside to some certain players that to be honest, body's language and attitude last weekend were just not it.
Mhm.
Other than when we mentioned, obviously, only probably Lewis Miley and Dan Burn could really hold their head high. So yeah, overall feeling good. A little bit worried because obviously Nottingham Forest are a good side, particularly this season. But I'm feeling
Yeah.
good. I think we can bounce back from that loss and win.
I think what we need, and we've had this discussion on the pods and off the pods, is more about the lads actually turning up at the weekend. Because I think the City game wouldn't have been as disappointing if we turned up, because we didn't turn up. Like you said, we've discussed the fact that Byrne and Miley were the only two that seemed to look like they cared at all. But I don't know. I can't imagine it's going to happen. Like you say, 2 games in a row. There's no way, surely, they're going to... Eddie would rightly lose his head if the team did what they did against City, in my opinion. And all right, maybe Eddie can make some tweaks to the formation, potentially. That would be good. The team that's starting lineup again, which we'll kind of discuss as the pod goes on. But that's on him. But at the end of the day, he can only do so much. If the lads are then going to go out on the pitch and do absolutely nothing, like the likes of City will turn us over, Forest would turn us over as well. So we'd like to believe that that's not going to happen, which means the Forest game is going to be a completely different thing to what the City one was. I don't know, I suppose on the back of it, I think we'll go further into it in a second, but are there any kind of major changes that you guys would want to see starting this one that wasn't at the City game? I know obviously, Michael, you've just touched on the fact that Botman will be back. Would you have Botman and Byrne at the back, for example, and drop Share? Because as much as we love Share, and dear God, we all love Share, like being serious about it, the guy's he's probably having just a bit of a rough patch, let's call it. He hasn't been great for quite a few games. There's been a lot of misplaced passes, just a lot of mistakes that aren't very Share-like is the thing that's kind of behind it all. It's you look at him and you think, is there something off? Is there something going on in his life that's putting him off? Or is he just having a bad patch? Because all players have them. They just do at some point in their career. Is this his kind of bad patch? So that's my initial one would be, let's just talk defence, I suppose. Would you guys start Botman and Byrne? Would you make any other changes to the defence, basically?
I mean, if Sven Botman is back, it is still a maybe, but if he is, I think he's got to come in. I mentioned before the City game, I wouldn't mind seeing us go a 5 at the back. Hindsight tells you that would have been a good thing. So Kieran Trippier's not trying to win headers against Marmoush in the 10th minute or something like that. Yeah, it wasn't great. But I think against Forest, they're a completely different opposition. And I think against Chris Wood, you need Dan Burn in there. So I would say Botman as well if he's fit, and it would be Burn and Botman. Any iteration of those 3 on their day would be fantastic. But at the same time, you are going to need someone who's a little bit more mobile. So maybe Shaw and Botman is better. I mean, none of them can run, really.
No.
But when you consider Anthony Alanga, Callum Hudson-Odoi, you're going to be running at Livramento probably, and Hall. Yeah, it's a scary thing. We've seen for what Forest's fast-paced attack can do. We're pretty much set up to suffer from it. But I think Botman would be a big, big help in nullifying that attack.
Agree. What do you reckon, Nick?
I agree with what Mike was saying, and I think that should happen of Botman being brought back. But I am just gonna chuck a little curveball in there. I don't think he'll bring Botman back until the Liverpool game next week. I think he'll want him full strength for that. But I mean, I'm proved wrong every hour of the day. So, like I say, I just work 9 to 5. Eddie Howe knows what Eddie Howe knows. I know nothing. My personal preference would be, I love Kieran Trippier. I'll never say a bad word about him, but I think he needs to come off. Come off. He needs to be starting to sub, obviously, and Tino brought back in. Lewis Hall, him on the left, and then for me it would be the same back 4, I think, as the weekend, which scares me a little bit because obviously 4 went past them. Other than Kieran Trippier, sorry, but so I don't think he'll bring Botman back. I think he might leave him for the Liverpool game, just because that's going to be a game where we need to kind of go and prove a point a little bit. We all need to prove a point at every game, but I do think he'll leave him for the Liverpool one.
We do.
But I would quite like to see a 5 at the back, like we did against Arsenal.
Yeah.
almost. Like, yeah,
Three
I
with
would
two
quite like
wing
to see
backs,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
in a sense, I think it knocks teams off of it. I don't know if that's like his secret weapon or what. I don't know, but
I'd
it
like to
did
play the
seem
next two games and the final with three at the back and two
yeah,
wing backs,
it
100%.
did. But is that too predictable? Is now people going to be looking at that? Like, so is
Yes and
Arne Slot
no,
going to be
because I
looking at
think
that
our
thinking,
4-3-3 is beyond predictable. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like
probably
that's the
right.
real
100%.
problem. The
Yeah.
4-3-3 was sussed out so long ago that something has to change. And all right, the three at the back, I see what you're saying, but it's such a new kind of thing that we're doing that it'll take people time to get used to it.
Get
And,
used to it. Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. He doesn't have to do it every game, and I don't think he's going to do it every game. In fact, I'm going to go back to what I said about giving my house to Nick. I'll put my house on the fact that Eddie is not going to play with three and the two wing backs and whatever in the Forest game, the Liverpool game, and the cup final. He won't, because that's that much we do know about Eddie. He is more likely to stick with his 4-3-3 that he just absolutely loves. But because it has been sussed out, we've got to kind of just make it work better. But again, it goes back to what I said before. If the lads step up, it's a totally different game to City. The City game would have been a totally different game if the lads stepped up. All right, we still might have lost. I'm not going to be all delusional, be like, oh, if we'd stepped up, we definitely wouldn't have lost. That's not the case, but we wouldn't have lost 4-0. I can guarantee you that much.
Absolutely.
So it's a tough one, isn't it? But sorry, Michael.
Yeah. I think the question I want to ask is, when is Nick Pope going to play? Because he's arguably one of our best goalkeepers in Premier League history,
Ever.
alongside the likes of Given. So why is I know Martin Dubravka's better with his feet a little bit, but there's no point in having a goalkeeper that's good with your feet if he concedes 4 every game. Just ask Man United fans. Onana's great with his feet. He's terrible.
I know what you're saying.
We've kind of got the same with Dubravka.
Oh, I feel like you're being a bit
back.
harsh. I do feel like you're being a little bit harsh.
It's such a tough one, isn't it?
Dubravka isn't as bad as Onana.
Fair point. You're right.
Fair point.
No, it's a funny one because haven't we had this conversation, isn't it? Because we've all said,
this is a conversation
you point out multiple times. It is, isn't it? Yeah. Actually, good call on that one. Well, let's shut up. We'll talk about our wonderful new sponsor, Bioniq from Canada. I'm going to play the ever professional dulcet tones of Ken, so it's none of us reading this one out. So I'll play that now, and we'll come back and we'll move on to other areas of the pitch.
Your body is unique. And Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements, designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Love that. Brilliant stuff. And I would give him a round of applause, but he's not on it, so we can't do that. Well, we usually give ourselves an applause, don't we? Because we're a bit weird like that. Right, so moving on to what we were literally just going to talk about, but Nick rightly did stop me in my tracks.
Sorry.
So, no, I would have went on a tangent. Thank you. So let's talk keepers, to be fair, because do you reckon he might bring Pope back in? It's a great thing to bring up, I'll be honest.
No, he won't.
I think we automatically kind of assume Dubs is just going to keep his position, but why should he? If there are going to be mistakes there, do we bring Pope back in now? Or I'm kind of open to that, I'll be honest. I wasn't open to it prior to the City game. I was quite happy with Dubs doing his thing, but I know what Michael's saying. Like, at some point, do we go back to Pope, or does Pope just now stay on the bench?
There will inevitably come a time where Pope will get his number one spot back, right? I'm not disagreeing with that.
Oh, no.
I fully, wholeheartedly agree that we can't have someone like Nick Pope sat on the bench and just watching Martin Dubravka every single week. But what my point is, how can we possibly drop Martin Dubravka when he's actually, okay, yes, he let 4 goals in at the weekend, right? A shocking scoreline, not great. So that no one wants to see that as a football fan.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the ball shouldn't even be getting to him at that point. It's it's 10 plays in front of him. It wasn't his fault. It's the 10 plays in front of him that need, to an extent, Michael, let me get my point across. But how can you drop him when really he hasn't put a foot wrong? He's not put a foot wrong. He's been with us all
Did you not watch the Fulham game?
I actually didn't watch the Fulham game.
Well, there you go.
Said that on that time. I'm not a massive Dubs stan. I've said this before.
No.
Like when we done our
Yeah.
Wildcard Wednesday a couple of weeks ago, if I was to put a keeper in my dislike pile, it would be Martin Dubravka, just because of the way he acted when he went to Man United. And anyone that goes to Man United from Newcastle is dead in my eyes. But but yeah,
He's revived.
he's revived himself. Yeah, maybe I'm just being a bit biased because of the actual.
He's risen from the dead. He's like,
maybe
the zombie.
Maybe I've just been biased because of the form that he has been in. I feel like he's getting a bit of a hard time. And he's just signed a contract extension, guys, today. It's announced earlier.
I don't want him to go, by the way. I don't want him to go, but I think we need...
Michael! Oh, dear. Poor Dubs.
Yeah, 6 months ago, no one wanted him at the club.
I mean, it's true.
Little scoop here, he didn't want to be here either.
I know.
He wanted to go to Saudi.
We need to remember that.
He wanted to leave the club. And now he's kept 4 clean sheets or something. Granted, 2 of them against Arsenal. Class. But they were dog. They were terrible against us. That's because we made them that way. But conceding 4 against Bournemouth, which, let's be honest, at least one of them he should have done a little bit better with.
Yeah, fair.
The Muniz goal against Fulham. That doesn't happen in Nick Pope. Nick Pope's not great, but he's not letting Muniz, let's say where the microphone is there, he's not letting Muniz get there in front of him and then having the ball go past him. For those on Spotify who can't see the video, there's about 6 inches difference, something like that. It's not a lot at all. So I'm aware Martin Dubravka has had a fantastic run at the club, but this close to a cup final, you don't keep your star player in a position on the bench. Sure. It'd be like sitting there and saying, you know what, Anthony Gordon? Garang Kuol is having a great run of games. We're going to play him in the cup final. Well, most people probably don't know who he is.
Okay, that's cool, but Nick...
I love when Michael goes proper Geordie.
No, okay. But then you've got the thing of, Nick Pope got a red card before our last cup final.
Yeah,
against Liverpool.
Stupid. So we've got 2 keepers that have got qualities of each other that we need to mould into
keepers,
one.
Great.
2 stupid keepers. My question to you guys, I'm not hosting, Joe, but I am taking this over. One keeper that you could bring in. Let's go.
John Ruddy.
No!
I want the Greek guy, Abazaluganas.
So obviously good as.
Obviously good. Obviously not as good as Dubs and Pope.
We haven't got another choice.
No.
Oh,
no I'll go back on what Michael's just said there. What I do 100% agree with, and was always a massive frustration of Dubs, by the way. Let's forget about his decent run. Let's go back to how we genuinely used to feel about Dubs. The biggest gripe we had was the fact that guy cannot command his area at all. He likes to stay right back. And right, Pope can't use his feet, we know that, right? But apart from that, Pope is the better keeper, let's get real. But really, Dubs is like Pope will command his area. Sometimes a bit too much, and he goes way outside the area. We've established that one as well.
Sometimes he's at the halfway line.
Sometimes he just likes to wander. This is where, if we mishmash them together, we'd be having an unreal keeper. But but Dubs doesn't command it so much that I think Liverpool, especially in the cup final, for example, will take huge advantage of that, by the way. So I'm going way ahead now, because in the final I would have Pope. So guys, now if I'm having the final Pope, should we bring Pope in now and let him have that run at the Pope?
No. I think I'm being superstitious. I generally think I'm being superstitious.
Oh,
I know,
what?
Michael, don't give me that look.
What are you being superstitious about?
I think we've had Dubs throughout the whole Carabao Cup campaign. I'm like, don't change him. Don't change him.
Oh, no.
Don't change him.
It's more important what we do, like drinking out of lucky mugs.
Make sure our shirts were
millions of checklists that we do. Yeah. That's important. Yeah. Not the same keeper.
The sponsor coming anytime soon.
I think Michael's bored of us. He doesn't like me.
Superstitions we're moving on to now.
I think
you know what I mean, though.
You
know what I mean. Like, when something's like, because you've had it the whole time, you're like, okay. It's like when you wear your lucky shirt when you go play football or something, you win all the time. Like. Yeah. Don't change it. Why fix them? Why
lucky pants?
Try and fix something that's not broke. Lucky pants. Yeah, lucky mug. Things like that.
By the way, lucky Pope paid the first Carabao Cup game.
So all right.
So
it's not the one that we went to a penalty shootout with Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we won because
never been in the state anyway. We didn't let the goal in.
Well, this
which we nearly
opened up a can of worms, didn't it?
Which we nearly lost. So,
I love that the whole of part 2 has been about Nick Pope.
sorry.
So, no, it's all right.
Michael, I love you, but it's nice to have a disagreement sometimes.
You love them. First Kev, now me. I think she just hates men. But we'll not go to
She
that.
doesn't fight with me.
I don't.
Don't you?
It's because sometimes I just like to get my point across, and sometimes I don't get that chance.
They
So
don't
when I get
let
that
you, don't they,
chance,
not, girl?
I tweet at it.
They
Yeah.
don't
No,
let
they
you.
don't.
That's why. See,
They don't.
stop
First
being
long
mean,
stuff, now
Michael.
dubs. Do you know what I mean?
All right,
Yeah.
I'll stay quiet.
Nah, don't stay quiet.
How
It's all right. She'll start on Ian next.
I know.
Lining them all up.
Quickly looking at the trophy and I'm next on with him.
I was going to say, when's he in for punishment? I'll tell you
break.
what, because we have literally, we've talked about Pope for the whole second part. It's fine, because we've done it. But yeah, who is going to be my lovely sponsor reading out? I think it's Michael, isn't it? Michael, the professional one. Thank you very much. If you don't mind.
Nick, you can do it.
I'm really sorry, dude. I haven't got it uploaded.
Michael, I'll ask you really nicely. Would you please do the honours?
I will
Thanks,
indeed.
Michael. Really appreciate that. We're friends now.
Cheers, love. Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. And Zencastr, it came out a clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs. It's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
The shlink. Ooh,
shlink.
I love it.
Like the shlink.
Michael, I'm only absolutely desperately latch on to something because we screw it up every time and you don't. So now I'm just clutching at straws.
The shlink will be fine.
If you just check out the shlink, it will be fine. Right, moving on from that. Let's talk about a little bit about Forest, I suppose. Are we fearing anyone in particular? I'm not scared of the whole team. There's obviously, there's certain people that we are going to be a bit more wary of, let's say. I almost don't want to say Chris Wood, but Chris Wood's an obvious one, isn't it?
I'm scared of him.
Yeah.
We'll do the predictions at the end. We all know what Ian's is. He's going to do 5-2. So yeah. But no. We will move on to that at the end. So yeah, in all seriousness, is there anyone in particular, I'll kind of leave mine to last, I'll let you guys go first, that you are worried about? Why worried about them? Or is it just basically against who they would be playing against in our team in that sense? Michael, we'll go to you first.
Yeah, sure. I was going to let Nick go first just to be a gentleman, but
sorry.
it's fine.
I'm in control. It's my pod.
Yeah, that Elliot Anderson's a great player. I wonder where
that
came from. But no, I think
remind us.
the one I'm mainly worried about is Gibbs White. I think you see time after time teams who have a good number 10 tend to perform well. Let's take Tottenham, for example. When Maddison's on form, Tottenham perform well.
Mm-hmm.
When he's injured, not in the team, you get what they've done this season, which has been absolutely dreadful. And yes, he has been around. He has played quite a lot of games, but he hasn't been in form at all, and they've suffered because of it. Gibbs White, on the other hand, has arguably had the best season of his career, and he looks like the £40 million player that they signed. He'd probably go for 60, 70 now. He's got, he's got running power. He's strong. He's brilliant on the ball. And the only plus is that we're going to have Sandro Tonali probably man marking him, which is going to be fantastic. But you take if Gibbs White takes Tonali out the game, that's leaving Bruno and whoever that third midfielder is to deal with Anderson, Danilo, and help out with Alanga and Hudson-Odoi. So whether or not Gibbs White can get the better of Tonali is probably going to be the key battle for me.
It's a great shout, I'll be honest. And it's a great point on what you said with his valuation, to be fair, because I remember when they paid that and I was thinking, is he worth that? Boy, he's worth that and more, right? Like you said, he's completely proven it, hasn't he? Alanga is a bit of a worry for me, I've got to be honest. Nico Williams can be dangerous as well. He's a great young player, isn't he? And our boy Anderson as well, bless him. But yeah, we're not bitter about losing him still, obviously.
I am.
But I know. I was trying to be as sarcastic as possible without being over the top. It's all right. I was trying to bring down the drama. It's fine.
We want more.
We want more drama. Nick, give me some drama, girl. What is there anything? Is it anyone else? Sorry.
What kind of drama do you want? No, I'm
I don't
joking.
know. What can you just
Matt
shout?
Sells.
Hey, I'll tell you what, though. Again, there's another player that was better for them than us, but never mind. We'll, not be too negative.
Yeah, guys, you've mentioned them all, so I'm not even going to sit and drone on. Literally, I'm not going to. They play a really interesting lineup, don't they? 3-5-2.
Yeah.
Not as interesting, but I'm just because it's not us, like because we just do 4-3-3 because we're so boring. But I'm
I
just
love
like
two up front.
Yeah, I like a 2 up front. It just we haven't got the facilities to do it, but
Wilson's
we
back
do.
for a couple of games, man. We can for a
You
little bit.
can't have
then
Isak
he'll
and
go
Wilson
again.
at the same time, then he'll go. You can't do that. But yeah, no, I you can't do that. Anthony
Sorry.
Elanga. I think we said before, and I'm going back way in the summer when we first started recording, if we could bring players in, I mentioned him particularly for like just his ability on the pitch. So yeah, he is one that is a little bit worried. To be honest, Nottingham Forest team isn't to be messed with, is it? Let's be honest, they put 7 past Brighton, and I don't think Brighton's a bad team.
No, they're not.
So they put 7 past them. So yeah, they are in good form. Don't think any player should be, what's the word?
I think
be undermined.
Overlooked, yeah. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And I think we need to give them respect, but not too much. It's one of those, isn't it? I know, but you give a team too much respect. What I mean is, if you give them too much respect, you're just sitting back and taking it, and then if you sit back and take it, you lose.
I just want the question answered, and I just really wish. How did Chris Wood, go from what happened to us to what's going on at Forest? He scoring hat trick. He's like on 20 goals or something this season already.
Yeah, but he was still good for New Zealand though when he played for us, though, wasn't he? Yeah, but wasn't he? He was bizarre.
Yeah, very bizarre. Yeah, he's Anyway, yeah,
he's the one that Eddie didn't improve, because we always talk about how Eddie's improved a load of players, and he has, and it's absolutely undoubtable when you look across our squad. Like the best that he's brought out in Joe Linton, Jacob Murphy. It's so many players that we can sit here and list. But Chris Wood was one that not
struggled.
just him, the coach and staff in general, didn't get out of what he blatantly is capable of doing. And he was doing it for New Zealand as well. That was a frustration. I think it was literally when he was with us.
Yeah.
So,
I think
and you'll never know the truth behind something, but you really want to know it. That's one of those.
Yeah. I think with Eddie Howe, none of his teams have ever played with a target man.
Yeah.
And that's what Chris Wood is. When at Bournemouth, he had a couple of target men in the early years, but when Wilson came through, Joshua King was then playing up front when Wilson was injured, surprise. And then with us, it's Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson again. Chris Wood's really the anomaly there, and it's one of those where, unfortunately, his playing style just doesn't suit Eddie Howe. And, they both had to work with what they got. Chris Woods got sold for 20 million, 15, 20 million. We got a decent amount back off on him. Forest have got probably the most informed striker in the league, so it's a win-win. It just didn't work out. And that's fine.
Our striker's better anyway.
Don't. Exactly.
Oh, God, yeah. It would have just
all
been
three
nice
of them.
to have... Yeah. All 3 of them.
All 3 of them on their day.
Right. I mean, I don't have too much more to say about Forest, because to be fair, we've obviously pinpointed what they are. We know they're going to be dangerous, but we've still got to believe we're going to take them. So that's going to move nicely on to the predictions. We should have really asked Kev what he would, so we'll just guess Kev's. Because Ian obviously is 3-1. I think even the listeners now are probably shouting that out before we do. It's getting that predictable. So Ian's now 3-1. What do you reckon we should do for Kev? What do you reckon Kev's going to say for this one?
I think he's going to go 2-0.
I was thinking that. Good shout.
Right, we'll give 2-0 to Kev. I'll go last. Don't know why. Just will. Michael, go. Do the girls last.
Yes, madame.
Yes, boss, you mean. I want some saluting going on now.
Sorry, Chief.
Right, thank you very much.
I think it's one of those where us and Forest, we have quite a good record against Forest. I think in the Premier League we've lost just one of the last 13, and that was obviously the Chris Wood hat-trick on Boxing Day, which no one wants to remember. Everyone was too hungover to remember, hopefully. But what I would say is there's always goals. There's always goals in both teams, and I think it's going to be one of those... Cheers, Nick. It's going to... It's going to be one of those which is very box to box. And I think it's going to be... I'm going to go for a high-scoring game. I'm going to say 3-2. I think
I like
we'll have a 2-goal lead for most of it. Forest will get at least one back and we'll start to crumble, but we'll hang on. And show that grit and determination that we showed at the start of the season.
So 3-2, you said, yeah? So we've got a 3-1, 3-2, and 2-0. Go on, Nick, what do you fancy?
I was going for a 4-2.
I like that too.
Yeah, like I say, I think it'll be lots of... I think it'll be box to box.
I love a bit box to box.
I think there'll be goals, yeah. I'm going 4-2, but most likely I'll be wrong. And it'll be a boring 0-0 probably. But 4-2. That's what I'm going for.
Cracking.
Right. Oh, I'm stuck.
Good ones have been taken.
I know. Well, I did it to myself. I was like, I'll go last. That was smart, wasn't it? I do actually, it's strange because I do actually really fancy Ian's 3-1 for this one, to the point where I was even considering putting a bet on, but I won't because I've never won a penny off doing that, so I'll curse them. So there's one of your superstitions there, Michael. I'm not putting
never
a bet
back
on.
an Ian Mackay bet.
Never back, exactly. Never trust what Ian Mackay says.
Ian Mackay says.
Well, I've always loved it because
I won't have any Ian slander on this podcast.
Oh, we love Ian, man.
I'll stick up for the man.
Ian's the darn. He can do what he wants. I find it funny that my daughter, who, granted, she doesn't know a lot about football, bless her, but her go-to prediction is 3-1. So I loved it when I came on this pod, actually, and then Ian was just like, well, I always say 3-1, and I was like, no way. I was like, the amount of 3-1 bets I put on, just to appease my daughter.
I took that prediction one time when me and Ian done a crossover. It was I think it was the Fulham lads, and he looked like he wanted to burn me through the laptop screen. I was like,
was he going to cry?
He's really offended me. Yeah, he's going to cry.
Took my prediction.
I'll never ever take it again. I'll never take it again.
Do it.
I love that. Right, well, I'm going to go ridiculously score. That's probably not going to happen, but I'm going to be ultra positive. I'm going to go 4-1.
Oh, okay.
Just because, I don't know. Let's see. But in all essence, I'd be happy with any type of win, even if it was a really scrappy 1-0 win. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, very confident for a team that just got battered.
Yeah.
By a team that midweek got battered.
That's the frustration, man. City did to Real what we did to City. Like, Jesus, man.
Rolled over.
Anyway.
Absolutely. But it doesn't matter because we're not going to turn up on Sunday. And us as fans need to create the noise as well, by the way. That's just a little side note at the end. So, yeah, if anyone's listening to this and is at the match, please shout and scream like we will be. Or just go to the strawberry like we do before. Fill yourself full of booze and that'll fuel you. That always works.
And I'm coming up this weekend.
Yes, you are indeed. And if they can't hear us from the back row, girl, they will bloody hear us from the back row because we'll make sure.
That wasn't very nice.
Well, I didn't do anything. What did you do?
You have to watch back. He screwed his face up when I said I was coming up.
I was too busy looking at you going, with your arms.
No, I'm
Michael, are you at the game, by the way?
I am.
Oh, damn.
Fabulous. Where are you sitting?
Lasers.
Oh. You love the lasers.
Don't know exactly where. Yeah.
We're back row Marys up in the lasers west corner.
So, yeah, we are.
Oh.
We are. Bringing the noise. Give us a wave. As we're getting kicked out, we'll be like, whoa. Cool. As always, it's been a pleasure. I think it's going to be a boys pod on Sunday night, which will be a post-match review. So I think Ian is hosting that with Michael and Kev. So me and Nick will probably still be in the pub. Happy days. Or eating and drinking, even more happier days.
At the same time.
Aside from that, enjoy, and let's hope the post-match review is a lot happier than even this one was, because I think this has been quite a happy pod. And it's been a pleasure seeing you as always. Drink responsibly. Yes, Nick, drink responsibly.
Always.
Always. See you guys later.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.